Hello. Hello, Hal. Did you finish dinner? If you're calling, that must mean there's a situation. Given the time, I'm guessing it's about the Asian stock market. No, both the GDP bulletin and the CPI report went through with no problems. Is it about the funds from the Arabs? If they're being too demanding, then direct them to a different firm. Eagles would be fine. That sort of person can't stand letting money sit around in a bull market. No, He hesitated. I moved the phone away from my ear and stared into the receiver in disbelief. Then as I held it against my ear, I spoke. I can't really clear my throat at the moment, which is why you may be hearing my microphone turn on and off. Did something happen? The anguish in his voice made my mind start racing. Had one of the positions I'd left to Marco's discretion suffered heavy losses? Did he suffer heavy losses because of an erroneous order? Maybe he'd forgotten to submit a tax return and now auditors were swarming the office. As a huge list of possibilities flooded into my head, Marco spoke. Maria turned me down. I looked straight ahead, and my eyes met with the driver's in the rearview mirror. The well-groomed, middle-aged driver looked away, probably due to the look of complete astonishment on my face. That's a shame. If you haven't eaten yet, come meet me. Club 25, you know where that is, right? What part of me doesn't she like? The childish part of me? When I was your age, I was a lot more childish. I feel like if I ask her, I won't know what to say. I could hear him sniffling over the phone. I bet he's sulking all alone in that office. One of the selling points of our firm is that we don't give up easily, right? Right. Now get up, get ready, and find us a good spot on Club 25. Get a spot where you can get a good look at other people. Anywhere's fine, even next to the restrooms or under the stairs. Got it? Somewhere we can watch people. Okay. Alright then, up and at 'em. Move it, move it, move it. Naturally, he got a little upset when I said that as apathetically as I did. Alright, I'll be waiting for you there. Then, just as I was about to hang up, I heard Marco say, "Oh. I forgot to tell you, Gazanika called a little while ago. Shouldn't that take priority over you getting turned down?" Well, it was pretty much the same stuff as usual, so... He asked if we knew anything about a company funding some research institution that's connected to the state health agency. A research institution. It was the, Lunar Surface Pathology Research Institute. Sounds pretty boring. Maybe it's like the kind of research institute that sucks up people with money. Anyway, I bet it's being sponsored by some food production company, or maybe a biochem one. Doesn't seem like the kind of thing that'd affect Mr. Gazaniga's approval rating, though. I could make out the clacking of an old-style keyboard, meaning he was probably looking something up on his end. Gazanika asked us to look into this sort of thing sometimes. Since Gazanika's popularity was initially based on the image of him tearing down social injustices, if he got caught up in a mess with Parliament or criticized because he had put forth any meaningful proposals, it's got him to bring up stuff about corruption and illicit actions, as if he suddenly remembered them. Gazanika wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't exactly the kind of leader who was going to craft a new world and drag society into it. For better or worse, he was the type who really shined when there was something in the existing world that he could oppose. However, the Lunar Parliament was made up of legislators who were enlisted by megacorporations with more wealth and income than a small nation, and they quashed any efforts to raise taxes or expand welfare. The majority of the moon's population was, after all, made up of people employed by giant corporations and those who made a living off the scraps that those corporations left them. Ultimately, those kinds of people were only on the moon to make money. They couldn't care less about what happened to the low-income workers who carried the lunar surface on their backs, and they had no interest in helping out the deadbeats who ended up losing everything. Lower still was their interest in making the lunar surface a better place. As long as they could keep making money, they didn't care one bit about what happened to it. Even Gazanika, who had burst onto the political scene denouncing Avalon and other corporations for their wrongdoings, got stopped at every turn. and the bills he put forward were invariably gutted by the rats lurking in the Parliament. The more you expected, the more disappointing you get. He was desperately trying to recover his popularity with what was left of his term. As it stood, his chances of being re-elected president didn't look good. Marco interrupted my musings with an unexpected remark. Maybe it's like a company who makes exercise machines. Huh. I responded without thinking. Seems like this institution's main focus is on the effects that the moon's low gravity has on a human body's health. You don't really hear much about that sort of thing these days, though. There was a bit of commotion about that a while ago. It was about people who spend a long time on the moon can't go back down to Earth, right? That ended up being inconclusive, right? And if I recall properly, Eleanor had to go back because of Legoff's health, didn't she? When an elderly person adapts to the lower gravity, it affects their digestion when they return to Earth. Like, food becomes too heavy and difficult to digest, their muscles become a lot weaker too, so they're more prone to having an accident when going downstairs. Now, medically speaking, I think the actual trouble that an elderly person would have would be something cardio-related, as in, like, the heart has to work harder in a gravity environment than a non-gravity environment, and as such they may be trapped on the moon as they age. But young people should be able to go back and forth. It's just they won't be doing a marathon as soon as they land back on Earth. They probably wanted to do something before it was too late. I mean, it seems they spent 1 month in a gravity train facility on the orbital station. Speaking of which, I hope Dr. Wallace will be okay. Wallace would probably be able to deal with, even the sun's gravity. Well, I'm told when those of us are born on the moon to go down to Earth, we have to live in water for a while. I've heard it's impossible for us to walk down there, but I don't believe it. This is possible, it just depends on how strong their legs are. Basically about musculature in the legs and how fit they are, stuff like that. Like I said, they're not going to be running a marathon, so I'll put it that way. It's a water planet, so living like a fish wouldn't be too bad, would it? I would like to visit there at least once before I die. Anyway, it was the Lunar Surface Something Research Institute. Pathology Research Institute. Send him an email saying I'll look into it. I can probably find some healthcare analyst who knows something about it. Okay. Alright, I'll see you there. Then, just as I was about to hang up, I heard him say, sorry, there's just one more thing. What is it? He wants to know if he'll accept his recommendation to become a director of the Lunar Surface Central Bank. Apparently the next assembly is his last chance to appoint someone before his term as president ends. I knitted my brows. I've been avoiding it for so long. A director seat at the central bank, which was essentially what supported every financial organization in the country. The president had the power to appoint someone to one of the 6 seats on the board of directors. I didn't even have to guess why Gazanika wanted to send me into the central bank, since the central bank was the organization which effectively controlled the country's treasury. Sending me in there would be like giving a thief the keys to the vault. No amount of money would be enough for the projects that Risa and Gazanika were running. Being backed by the government would be incredibly reassuring. Of course, that went for my own dreams as well. That said, there were plenty of examples in Earth's history of government officials trying to do the exact same thing. And that led to situations where the central bank and the government conspired to print as much money as they liked. This wasn't just theoretical. This was something that had actually happened throughout history, which had led most countries to create laws specifically to prevent the government and the central bank from colluding. Naturally, the vault at Lunar Surface's central bank was not so easy to open. When thinking about it, as preparation for the project, it was a move that made sense. If by some miracle Gazanika managed to increase his approval rating enough to stay in office for a second term, then having me in control of the central bank would have considerable significance. It would be a giant leap forward for my own dream as well. However, what had been keeping me from accepting the position was a lack of conviction. When I asked myself if this was the right thing to do, if it was something I could look back on and be proud of, I couldn't help but be plagued with doubts. I was no saint. I had my own interests before Gazanika's and Risa's plans. Could I still be proud of doing this if Hagana was by my side? I didn't think so. Manipulating governmental systems was no laughing matter. The atmosphere felt similar to that of the Royal Central Hotel that had caused me to stray from my path 8 years ago. I must have stayed silent for a long time, but Marco didn't hang up. He waited patiently for my answer. Let me think about it a little more. Although I trusted Marco's judgment, it was still only as good as the average Lunarian's. I doubted if he really understood why I didn't accept the position immediately. I don't know if I can handle the responsibilities of that office. I think you're more than qualified for it, Hal. You could search the world over and not find a central banker in their 20s. That's insane, even for the moon. The reason the moon has advanced so much is because it showed time and again that it doesn't play by the same rules as Earth. When did you become a lunatic? I imagine Marco, who so loved the culture of early 20th century Earth, pursing his lips on the other end. I'll tell him you're still thinking about it. Thanks. With that, Marco hung up. I shrugged my shoulders, trying to get comfortable, and looked outside. The sun had long since set, and gazing down the road I could make out the gorgeous glowing 100-million-wool skyline of Newton City at night. Ties between people were strange things, I thought. I'd made connections with people, and right now I was at the nexus of all that light. The nexus of that light which encompasses all people's dreams and desires, no matter how grand and greedy they were. My taxi silently traveled toward the brilliant light where the majority of humanity's wealth was gathered. The buildings around Club 25 were like works of art, tangles of steel and glass that were dazzling even in Newton City. One could not tell where a building started and where it ended. What you thought was a hotel was actually a shopping mall, and what looked like a shopping mall turned out to be a part of a park. The area itself was probably constructed to look like one big artificial city. Club 25, with its atmosphere of freedom, was tucked away in a corner of that complex city within a city. Part of the atrium's terrace jutted out, overlooking a huge artificial pond and garden where one could often see the rich and famous lounging down below. But even though those people seemed so close, this was not a place where one could just enter by wandering aimlessly. Even though it should just be there, it was an inaccessible place. You had to go through a lot of security, and you could only get there by taking a special VIP elevator. I was sure the exquisite architecture inspired a sense of superiority in those fat cats. I passed through Club 25's entrance, a melting pot of green wealth where the flowing golden champagne was shining with a bewitching light. There should already be another person from Schweitzer here. Amidst the commotion, I addressed the club's host, who was wearing an earbud, and he nodded with a smile. As I was being guided, I exchanged greetings and handshakes with the acquaintances I ran into. The inside of the club was decorated in dark tones. The center was a spacious hall with rings of booths surrounding it. The booths were positioned in an alternating pattern for the sake of privacy, and you couldn't get a good look at other alcoves from inside one. As we walked along the ring, I glanced around, looking at the faces of people who were talking within the booths. Likewise, I took stock of the people passing by them. Even a relative newcomer like me could learn to recognize just about everyone involved in this narrow world of ours. Of course, that meant they recognized me too. Most of the people holding champagne glasses and chatting in the central hall were men in their 30s, and there were some older men in their 50s as well. But the most raucous of the men, who traded those thin champagne glasses for bottles of high-class brandy, were always in their 20s. Actually, maybe even younger than that. There were some people here and there dressed in trim suits and neckties, but they were probably the minority. Those were the kinds of investors that pulled in profits buying. They were investment bankers who made their income by selling. Those guys, always out to make a deal with their customers while wearing their unnatural plaster-on smiles, seemed to blend in chatting with the other investors. Here we are, Mr. Calwell. With that introduction, I was led to a seat in the innermost part of the upper area, which gave us a good view of not only the central hall, but of anyone leaving the club. The table already had plenty of food on it, and Marco, staring at his tablet, was rudely stuffing his mouth. Oh, I already helped myself. Nothing but fried food. From fish fritters to steak, cheese was chaotically strewn across a fancy pizza crust, and the whole thing was topped off with french fries. That sort of crude food definitely wasn't on the menu, so we must have specifically asked for it. Then again, most of those gathered here today were the type of successful lunar investors who were convinced that they owned the universe. I guess the club would deliver whatever they asked for, and would bear proof of the incredibly beautiful girls you could see here and there. Surely they were here to fulfill a role that one did not mention out loud. Eleanor had lamented that the investing world was ruled by meatheads, and this place was much the same. It was worth noting that tobacco was pretty much the one heavily taxed thing here, and yet everyone here was smoking. On the lunar surface, where everything had to be recycled within the domes, polluting the air was not cheap. Smoking a big fat cigar cost more than rolling a 1,000-rupee bill and lighting it on fire. The steak that Marco was eating must have been charbroiled, but such a menu was quite a statement of defiance on the lunar surface. Do I think, Hal? The food here practically lives up to the place's reputation. I had some beans and fish at Reese's place. We're on the moon, Hal. Even a monk would eat something more substantial than that. Unfortunately, I don't have that much testosterone. Well, I guess you just don't have a macho vibe like these guys. Marco looked over at the chaos at the central hall, stuffing his face with steak. Should we get some alcohol? If I recall correctly, the doctor doesn't drink, am I right? I'll also be filling them with sparkling water. You stay away from the alcohol, too. Didn't they change the law so that's at your own discretion now? I'm going to tell on you to Eleanor. Fine. Marco sulked and slurped his soup, lifting the bowl and plate up to his mouth instead of quietly eating it with a spoon as would have been proper. We got a pretty good seat though, didn't we? We'll be able to see who the idiots are from here pretty clearly. Marco chuckled cheerfully as I peered through my opera glasses. Are the cattle the ones making all that noise? Eagles guys are here too, it seems. Looks like it. That guy in the suit next to them must be their chaperone. So he is their fund provider. While there were investment funds that were directly funded by an individual manager, there were also cases where investors borrowed capital that they managed from a commercial or investment bank. Commercial banks. These banks collect deposits from customers which are then lent out to businesses. They earn from the business's margin of profits. Some also earn from settlement fees. That used to be a long time ago, however. So most of the banks that people use for their deposits are going to be these. The money you put in there is then lent out, then the businesses repay it, and that's how they pay the interest on your deposit. It's also how they manage to pay their personnel, in case you're wondering. Investment bank. This type of bank does not have any depositors, but mainly earns money by assisting corporate clients to raise funds. So a lot of Wall Street banks want to be like this, but they still take deposits, which is... It's something that I've made a point about before. So in case you're wondering, I'm going to keep it brief. There are some banks out there that say it's too much effort to manage people's individual deposits. Basically like any sort of checking account or just a savings account, whatever, as long as it's just a deposit in general. They say it's too much trouble for the average person. My big question then is, why do they do it then? Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't become the issue of this game. Greenhorn investors were given a package, mockingly called a starter kit, composed of funds to manage and an outsourcing solution for their back office business. The counterpart in that system was that the counterpart. Okay. Normally I think that, like, a better word for this would be like the catch or something like that rather than counterpart. No. The counterpart in that system was that they had to pay back a huge amount of money to their backer. But even those cattle, who couldn't take losses, must be managing a lot of money to have been invited here. Being the chaperone to such a bunch was probably no easy task. It'd be troublesome for them if they cut loose too hard and ended up dying face down on the bar counter. But if they're only arrested for disturbing the peace, since they could just hand out a single trade designation in the form of a letter, they probably wouldn't care. Oh yeah. Seems like a sponsor helped us out with these seats. Huh, a sponsor. Getting suspicious, I removed the opera glasses from my face and prepared to question him. The whole uproar about Avalon's defeat was merely a public fad. Such gatherings were usually organized by investment banks looking to make deals or commercial banks promoting themselves. Those kinds of people didn't care about public reputation. All that was important was how much they were paying, and in that way there was no reason to butter me up since I was simply trading stocks. At any rate, since I was known as a wooden-legged donkey, it was well known on the lunar surface how cautious my style of investing was. Come to think of it, who's organizing all this? Huh? The E.J. Rochberg Bank. Didn't you get a message from Chris? No, I didn't. Did Chris get a promotion? And by that, I meant a promotion that would be able to get us these seats. Marco just responded to my question with a vacant stare. After a moment, he snickered somewhat cheekily. Or rather, he had this childish expression, like he wanted to call me an old man for saying something like that. But in that moment, Marco cleared his throat deliberately and was about to speak. With a mechanical click, the club's lights began to fall. Sorry to interrupt your conversations. He seems new. As I took notice of the sudden but impeccably pronounced words audible all around the room, a small stage near the entrance lit up, revealing a slender, smartly dressed man holding a microphone. I was not very knowledgeable about actors and the like, but I had seen his face on TV several times. They probably brought in some popular news anchor or something. Thank you all very much for finding time to patronize our establishment in the midst of all your work. The organizers of this venue express their deepest gratitude to all of you. As soon as he finished speaking, someone whistled. It was probably some young punk. I believe that all the people gathered in this hall are among the finest of the lunar surface at seeing into the future. I myself wish that I were able to focus on something other than yesterday's headlines. The air buzzed with laughter and applause. Seems like he really was a news anchor. We would like to present to you with the greetings from the people of our company addressed to all of you who are filled with foresight. The small commotion must have been because, in this small world, everyone either knew everyone's faces or names. That was just how things worked. If the organizer was E.J. Rochberg Bank, then did that mean that E.J. Rochberg himself, somewhat of a legend on the lunar surface, was about to show his face here? However, this was a ploy used to trick amateurs with less in the bank, who admired the slightly mysterious and luxurious atmosphere of this world. People who would gather here were controlled by two simple thoughts. Put bluntly, how much stuff will the other guy buy me, and how much can I earn with what the other guy buys me? So let us ask how the people who stood here in a place where such thoughts intersected with each other were chosen. Such expectations were amplified within the darkness. However, for my own part, I was worried for some reason, probably because I had a premonition of some sort. For the fact 1, we had been placed in excellent seats. Fact 2, on the lunar surface, everything related to power was decided by how much money you made. After an unbearable pause, the young man on the stage spoke. Now, Bryce O'Donnell of the Financial Product Development Department shall present his greetings. After a slight commotion, the spotlight at the stage moved to another place, illuminating a gentleman in his prime. His hair was combed back and he had a square face, large shoulders, and brows that conveyed strength. A man who looked like he could snatch profit with his own strength like a hunter could snatch his prey, like a carnivore in a suit. For 1 second, I thought this man was Barton. After all, when Avalon collapsed and its administrators were arrested for fraud and violation of security laws, he had still managed to escape. Of course, it was someone else, and I was relieved, but O'Donnell had the same air about him as Barton. In other words, the glare worn only by men who had seized enormous success, but still hunger for more. But what really stole my gaze was not O'Donnell, who had started his speech. My gaze was locked on his side. on the one who was standing there in the spotlight, certainly not as an assistant to anyone, but as one of the investors who had managed immense assets invited for this occasion. She was here. It was Chris. It was quite obvious that she was nervous, but Chris was clearly standing here as someone who had made it. She had graduated from university in no time, and actually, the very second she had registered, she had become an intern for an investment bank. She probably thought her skills would be a fit for the place, and she joined the biggest commercial bank on the lunar surface, E.J. Rochberg, where she could make most of her talent with mathematics applied in investment. It was here, amidst this nest of greed, that Chris could wrench some modicum of success. Chris had said she wanted to live true to her feelings, and here she was, taking her first strong steps and walking her own way in life. I noticed that I had started smiling, which surprised me. Chris was always somewhere in my heart. There was also the fact that I had been unable to respond to her affections, which made me worry about her. Just as Risa kept on treating me like a child, I still viewed Chris as an unreliable young girl. That was why seeing Chris actually making strides on her own was filling me with joy, but also with what I understood was a bit of loneliness. Which is why it is our utmost earnest hope that the securities we develop and sell will help with diversifying your investment portfolio, providing an increase in performance. If you don't know what a portfolio is, originally meaning carrying case, as in you carry documents with. In financial terms, it denotes the details of several investments. The meaning is quite vague. So basically the portfolio is supposed to be like your collection of stuff. I don't know why they didn't just say that, but they might be like doing the word-for-word translation or something, I don't know. But it's basically just like an artist portfolio is the collection of writing or drawings from that artist. A writer's portfolio would be like the writings of the writer. So basically the investment portfolio is just like your collection of investments. O'Donnell's greetings as he advertised his own product were not concluded with servile cajolery, but with a dignified air, and it was followed with applause and cheers to match. It was quite a rare sight to behold, buyers actually directing their applause, whistles, and cheers to sellers. It seemed he was the leader of the development team of those peculiar securities that were so popular, and that I had heard of. Marco kept staring at O'Donnell without blinking, taking notes on his tablet all the while without even looking at his hands. Even Marco was a prodigy in his own right. It was just common sense that someone like Eleanor would never let Marco be at her side just because he had a liking for her. This concludes Mr. O'Donnell's greetings. You can resume enjoying the party. As for the securities our bank composes and sells, the development team members will be explaining the details directly. The best quants of our bank are also present at this gathering, so we of course will be able to answer any I want to see before I go forward. So yeah, if I click forward, I cannot bring up the definition. So quant is a term that came up in the first game and I had to speculate on what it means. Let's find out for sure. A person who utilizes advanced mathematics to develop financial products. The term is used more loosely in the game to include persons who use mathematics in transactions. It came from scientists who entered the financial world after they lost their jobs post-Cold War. So if this is an actual term, I didn't know, but there you have it. The best quants of our bank are also present at this gathering, so we will of course be able to answer any mathematics-related question. However, please understand that assisting with your son's homework will cost an additional fee. No ripshot, I guess. The lights came back up, and after that last quip and the laughs that followed, music and a slight commotion filled the club once again. People had already started to mass around O'Donnell and his team. I didn't need to use my opera glass to tell that Chris was frozen with nervousness. However, she was not cowering. When asked questions, she looked quite capable of answering. I even thought I should give Risa a call about this. So these would be the securities that have institutional investors going gung-ho about them since last year, even though they are usually into debts and loans. And as of late, it seems even people who mainly do stock are buying them. So, institutional investor, the counterpart of private investors. Mainly a corporate entity such as a bank's own trading division or an insurance company's investment division investing on investment and pension funds. Most of the actual trades are conducted by institutional investors. The market system is considered to be unfavorable for private investors. So they use the word invest here 3 times. Yeah. This brought me back to reality as I glanced at Margot, who was still staring at his tablet. Hell, you did know about these, right? I shrugged, dodging his jokingly provocative stare. The investment world was huge, and new financial products were coming out more regularly than new detergent or toothpaste. It was obviously impossible to be versed in all of them. Only superficially. I thought it was just a rehash of the concept of securities that has existed on Earth for a long time, but seeing how popular they are, it's probably not the case. What's the catch? They're known as ABS, which stands for Asset-Backed Securities. The principle is basically gathering loans with regular payments into one claim. For instance, if you had one estate loan of 1 million wools and another one of 2 million wools, the idea would be to combine them to a single loan worth 3 million wools. So that's right here, 1 plus 2 gives you your 3. I saw right away how it worked. It was a classical system. It already existed on Earth by the second half of the 20th century. As for why they were doing this, it was because if we were talking about getting a 3 million wool loan from the start, and the debtor ended up bankrupt, it would turn up as a complete heavy loss. But for 2 loans of respectively 1 and 2 million wools, even if one turned up bankrupt, it would still be possible to claim money from the remaining one. So combining claim A and B into claim C, since C is a composite claim made of A and B, even if B collapses, A remains in, interest payments continue. With claim D, however, if it collapses, interest payments cease. If we suppose the collapsing probability of A, B, and D is the same, then claim C is the safest option. The probability of 2 people ending up bankrupt at the same time was lower than for one single person, so this served as a hedge against the risk. If you don't know what hedge is, avoids loss or gives insurance. Basic example would be if you buy a stock for 100 yen and short sell it. You won't suffer any losses regardless of whether the price rises or falls after that, and avoids loss hedges for that reason. It's a way to decrease risk. So it seems that once they make a big loan worth several tens of millions by following this principle, they split it up into units of 1 million wools or so and sell them to a lot of people. As long as claims A 1 through 100 do not all collapse at once, claim B won't end up with a value of 0. The probability of claims A to 100 collapsing is extremely low. However, since it is now, claim B is expensive, only rich people can invest. So split B into 100 and create claim C to 100. But I have to right-click. By splitting claim B and creating claim C, the price of each claim is kept low and accessible to many people. Then to explain the difference with claim A, suppose claim A22 collapsed. Suppose... So they have that repeated. People who would have bought claims A22 would incur a loss of 100,000 wools. But with claim C, since it's split from a part of claim B, which is a combination of claims A through 100, the 100,000 wool loss is split amongst the 100 investors. In other words, 100,000 wools divided amongst 100 claims means everyone takes 1,000 wool hit. So I need to see all the details, but this is starting to look like what Berkshire Hathaway does, I think. Works on the principle that if the price is not low, then the buying class increases, I guess. Besides, should I read the last one? So it seems that once they make a big loan worth several tens of millions by following this principle, they split it into units of 1 million wools or so and sell them to a lot of people. Works on the principle that if the price is not low, then the buying class increases, I guess. Besides, with more investors buying into these securities, even if they turn up a loss, it would be split up between everyone, so individual losses would be quite low. Seems to be how their stuff works. Yeah, that much is normal, so... As you said, it looks like these kinds of securities have existed since long ago. But it seems that's what makes their shine is in its claim structure. Marco raised his gaze from his tablet and looked at the hall in the center of the club. Greedy investors were completely surrounding this O'Donnell guy and his team. Seems that they are not simply merging the loans and splitting the claim, they're actually doing tranching. I've never heard this word before. In issuing a 100 million yen bond, having a low interest rate for 50 million makes it very safe. If you make 50 million's interest rate is high, it's very risky. Looks like the claims are divided into 3 sectors: senior, mezzanine, and junior. Senior is the safest, mezzanine, as the name suggests, is in between, and junior is the riskiest tier. Okay, I'm starting to see what this is. So if a loan ends up in default, the first tier to take a loss is the junior tier. I visualized a 3-story building in my head. In the event of a flood, the first floor would be immediately flooded, while the 3rd floor would be safe unless the situation was really dire, which meant that the rent would change accordingly. For the rent, this meant the lowest floor would be the cheapest. For claims, things were a bit different. Here we go. But in return, the most risky junior tier has the best interest payment then. So monthly interest payment of 5,000 moles, 10,000, 15,000. Senior because it values safety over everything else like the elderly. No matter which claim A collapses, the lower tiers will take the brunt. It's only after mezzanine and junior have collapsed that senior will suffer a loss. Low risk, low return. Then you have mezzanine, the middle, monthly interest payment of 10,000. People who want a middle ground is called mezzanine, just as intermediate floors in a building. This group will suffer losses after the junior tier collapses. The risk is between junior and senior tiers, and the interest payment is also in between. Then you have the junior tier. Monthly interest payment 15,000 moles. If a loss occurs, this group will be hit first. However, as a trade-off for taking losses first, interest payment is higher. Since it's like the folly of youth, it's called junior. And then they say the price for claim C is set at 100,000 moles. Yeah, that's from the previous section. I uttered these words as I glanced at the hall. Just at that moment, Chris was shaking hands with a delicate-looking man wearing a white suit and holding a bottle of brandy, and she was completely flustered as he patted her on the shoulder. For one second I was about to yell, "What are you doing to her?" But instead I was utterly dismayed at myself for feeling enmity for the guy, even though she wasn't my girlfriend or anything. Yes, as a trade-off for the good interest payment, the junior claims will absorb the loss. If it isn't enough, the mezzanine will be next, then after that, the senior tier. But the reality of that is that things don't seem like that. I just can't even read right now because there's funniness with so damn much. But the reality of things is that it doesn't seem like even the second most dangerous tier, mezzanine, is going to take any loss. Really. I was looking at Marco, who was looking at his tablet, his lips twisted and his head tilted. Here we go again. Yeah, I try to make these a little bit smoother, it's just this part is so disjointed because they're throwing so much at you all at once, and I don't really know why this is necessary. It's kind of starting the game off on the wrong foot unless some of the stuff later on is just going to heavily revolve around this. After all, these claims are rated AAA. It's the same as an advanced nation. It's basically guaranteed to never default. So if you don't know how ratings work, this came into play a few years ago when the US rating was dropped. The highest rating is AAA, which continues to AA, then A+, A, A-, triple B, and so on. Those below triple B are high-risk investments and often called junk bonds. Since the American national debt will not default, it maintained the highest AAA rating for a long period. It can default, and unfortunately if things don't change somewhat soon, it actually will. But yeah, I don't know why they decided to just stick to letters A and B and repeat them instead of just going for like a grading scale type thing with A to F. But at one point the American national debt was downgraded to AA, I think, when there was some fear of government lockdown. Wow. In this world, while there were countless financial products, not all investors were necessarily knowledgeable about all of them. Hence, as in any other field, anyone would need someone to give them a hand, to give them a lead. This was why in the world of investment for claims or stocks, or really anything you can call an investment, there was a specialized company that would estimate the degree of danger and rank these products. It wasn't a state agency or anything, but since there were no other options, every investor around the world did their job while trusting the ranks decided by the ranking companies. In case you're wondering, yes, this has as many problems as you're probably imagining. It had reached the extent where people in the government were scared of how a private ranking company would rank their national bonds. If the rank were to fall, the value of these national bonds would fall in the international market, and the government's interest payout, that is their debt, would go through the roof. Since ranking companies had acquired way too much power, there were quite a few disturbing rumors about them. But since the ranking business brought in so much money, they preferred to remain completely beyond reproach and preserve their reputation rather than taking a bribe. In this field, it was not whether things were in accordance with ethics that dictated whether a person would act ethically, or whether there would be a loss or a gain. This was really fitting for the lunar surface, and personally, I didn't dislike ranking companies. I guess they've calculated the mathematical probability of the claims defaulting, and that they are concentrating the risk on the lowest claim tier, the junior tier, thereby adjusting things so that the rest can get a AAA ranking. Oh, now I see. With a AAA ranking, they become able to buy things where they can't afford to take risks, like Earth pension funds or foundations after all. Even for investment institutions with solid credit in the field, it wasn't like they could all purchase every type of product at will. Earth especially had very strict regulations. For instance, the organization that managed the pension funds for American teachers was in charge of what would pass as huge amounts of money to the moon. But since it was a public organization, they were forbidden by law to handle risky products. They are not allowed to invest in any products not ranked AAA by ranking companies. That is, as having the same level of safety as bonds from top-grade advanced nations or corporate bonds from elite companies. However, while the quantity of such products in this world was finite, greed knew no limit. And in the world of trade, demand was the mother of supply. And if mathematics can explain their AAA ranking, I think this is the very reason Chris is here. Even though the lunar surface is full of young people, Chris looked especially young in this team. However, her aptitude at mathematics was something anyone in the world would accept, regardless of age or gender. So how much do these securities sell for? Marco smiled creepily as I asked this. The International Financial Product Association has data, but it's really baffling. Why? Marco answered my question. In the last month, 1.7 billion wools. What? 1.7 billion wools in only 1 month? E.J. Roachberg is a commercial bank, so my guess is that they are taking their own loans to create securities, and they're selling out with that. Oh my god, they're going for the Wall Street crisis, I think, this time. I'm beginning to see which direction the game is headed if it... yeah. How old is this game, I wonder? Even so, that's too big a sum, don't you think? The cycle probably goes like this. If the securities sell, this means money income, which they can loan again. And further create securities from these loans, which they can sell, and so on. Wow, that's some impressive business there. No, it's not! No, it's not! Too big to fail is coming to mind. When selling securities, they must be taking a commission, and when creating a loan, it must be the same again. The bank takes no risk in holding a loan, they don't even need to worry about waiting for the loan to be liquidated. Good choice of words. That really was some impressive business. And this is where I thought, but... this should only concern E.J. Roachberg. How come all these investors were going gung-ho about it? The ranking of AAA was an indicator of nearly absolute safety. Conversely, it was a truth of the world that safe investments have low returns. What about the rate? If the interest rate is bad, no matter how good the business is for the bank, it would never become this popular, right? Yes, you're right. The junior claims which had the highest rates yield 7%. mezzanine have about 5%, and this is weird, it's not that high. Right after Marco said that, this is the product of alchemy. A hoarse voice made itself known, and we both raised our faces. Doctor. Even though this place was the epitome of wealth, Dr. Wallace still looked like the picture of an ascetic in the desert. He clacked his cane on the ground and squinted his light green eyes, which seemed like they could see through anything in the world, then shook his head after looking at the tumult in the central hall. Such foolishness. Damn yield hogs. This is exactly what they mean when they talk about not fearing God. The lightning of truth shall burn their entrails. Yield hog. People who sniff around like hogs seeking out the slightest difference in interest rates. Since they're basically hogs, they don't care about the content of their investment. Doctor, won't you have a seat? At my proposal, Wallace faced me and nodded. You are quite late. I dropped by Clapham Square, you see. Were you looking for a present for Maria? I had trouble imagining someone like Wallace wandering in the flamboyant, animated giant shopping mall that was Clapham Square. But as I asked my question, Wallace shook his head. I wanted to take a look at human madness. Didn't you say in your autobiography that you did this? Isn't this him speaking? I wanted to take a look at human madness. Did you say in your autobiography that you did the same? Wallace looked at me with a broad grin. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was supposed to be Wallace, not Hal speaking. That autobiography was released without my intervention as a compilation of all things I blittered about back when I wasn't used to interviews. However, he smiled through the sarcasm, showing me that he was a British gentleman born and bred. Doctor, what did you mean by alchemy? Marco interrupted our conversation. Wallace only glanced at him without answering right away. He closed his eyes obstinately and muttered this. It's alchemy. Marco looked at me as if asking for my help. Are you talking about manipulating the numbers in the accounting books? When Wallace talks about alchemy, usually that was what he meant. In my words, Wallace opened one eye and glanced at me. It's protection. Protection. You mean like some hedge option? Looks like you're really a stock investor to the bone. Wallace opened both eyes, uttering this in consternation. You got me there. That was the best I could come up with. It is a virtue to not touch things you don't understand. I believe this was actually said by Warren Buffett. Isn't it an insurance on securities? Marco seemed to have been looking stuff up on his tablet intensely, trying to restore his honor. Youth truly is ignorance and passion. Marco smiled uncertainly at the ambiguity of that compliment. Exactly, an insurance. But how does that become alchemy? I let my gaze wander a bit, still fiddling with the numbers. And as I realized how it worked, I was flabbergasted. It couldn't be. Dr. Wallace nodded as if to say, that's what you think it is. The truth is too horrible to see. Wallace muttered that before resuming. Let us say that you have a mezzanine claim worth of 10 million moles with a yield of 5%. This means, on one hand, you have a yearly return of 500,000 moles. Now let's say that the insurance costs to compensate for the loss should the securities default is 3%. That is 300,000 moles. This means, in theory, that for a claim of 10 million moles, you can get a no-risk profit out of the remaining 2% being 200,000 moles. No risk. This goes beyond the highest rank AAA. Do you realize what this means? So here they're just telling you about the subtraction. There were a few possible cases for a claim to turnable loss. The easiest to explain was when a claim defaulted, when the other party shirked payment and asked to forget the debt. But unless we were talking about junk claims, defaulting almost never happened. Yet defaulting was still a possibility, so claims had their interest rate vary based on ranking. Basically, there was an interest rate attached to the claim, taking the risk into account. Returns were a reward for the risks. But should the interest rate of the claim exceed the insurance cost, we call it no risk. This was literally the holy grail of the investment world. People have been seeking it for hundreds of years. And to top it all off, current accounting regulations are not up to speed with such systems. So if you use the insurance, you can count the full profit of the claim in one go, in the scenario where you keep it until it expires. After all, it's a no-risk claim. And since this is a guaranteed profit, let's count tomorrow's profit as today's profit. It's no problem after all. In an instant, the balance sheet is like a glowing golden fleece. And all the rich people who want to invest in this field will charge like bulls towards this golden fleece. Suppose this is the case. Can't you understand why they would make such a fuss about it? The ones making the most fuss about it were the young cattle, risk-takers who didn't hesitate to rush to speculative deals by borrowing huge amounts of capital. It's called the Holy Grail because it brings profit without having to work hard. If you buy the securities and insurance set from E.J. Rochberg, you can theoretically increase your profits infinitely. After all, it's a no-risk investment, so no matter how much capital you borrow, no matter how much leverage you apply, no problem. Since the strategy will never fail, you just have to pile capital upon capital to make more money, right? Plus, the more profit you make, the more you will be able to solicit the participation in the scheme. Now then. Wallace turned his gaze back upon us with a complacent smile as he uttered those words. How can you call that anything but alchemy? Indeed. But did such a thing as no risk really exist in this world? It could be. In stock trading, even with insider information said to give you an absolute win, you had no way to tell whether the person giving you this information was trustworthy. Besides, I had personally gone through the experience of being blown to kingdom come via insider trading. Returns were a medal of merit for the risk you'd taken. No matter how much the market might change, that should be an immutable principle. Which is why the past held several examples of the Holy Grail being discovered and everyone fussing about it. But there have been several strategies touted as infallible in the past, right? At my words, Wallace hid his devilish smile. Yes, the most famous one ended up being the trigger for Black Monday of 1987. It was called portfolio insurance, right? Come to think of it, it also has insurance in it. If for a given stock's buying position the value shows signs it might fall, you hedge against that by short-selling futures. That way, even if the spot's price falls, since selling futures will turn a profit, it's no problem. That is why they called it an insurance to a portfolio. Well, it really was merely a half-assed idea. And there was a problem with how it worked. It was Marco who made that comment. Wallace closed his eyes and, without asking, grabbed my sparkling water and started sipping it. I asked a passing server for another one, and explained how it worked to Marco. Well, the idea was good. Back in the day, no one noticed the gamma trap. Huh? Delta is what you call the range of price movement for a given stock. The speed of that price movement is called gamma. Basically, when the movements are too fast, sales and purchase can't be performed in time, and the gap between theory and reality widens. Especially, back then, everyone taking part in the market thought the portfolio insurance was a perfect system, and they all used the same strategy. As a result, just because of a slight drop in price, everyone started selling in mass. It's really stupid. Sure, this was a lifeboat, but if everyone climbs on board, it's obviously going to sink. Sales and purchases of stock work only because both sales and purchases exist. This system worked with the assumption that for something sold, someone will surely buy it. Because you blindly believe that they fell in the gamma trap, you can sum it up as the measure of fear or panic. Back then, they didn't understand the market enough. So, the Holy Grail this time around is the same thing. Marco. I called out his name and shrugged. Wallace furrowed his brow in displeasure. Marco raised his shoulders like he was trying to make himself smaller on the sofa. In this world, you can divide knowledge into 4 states. I explained to Marco. Simply put, for a given fact, a state where you know that you know. For instance, the fact that we are here at Club 25, you can make requests on a whim. Then where you don't know that you know. Common sense falls under this. Usually you're never aware of it, but you actually do know about it. Among the remaining two, one is the state where you know that you don't know. For example, I'm aware that I don't know how to explain money-making business in tag-along. And the last one is the state where you don't know that you don't know. This is where demons hide. The black swans lie in this non-linear world that no one can anticipate. No matter the place, no one can predict what is going to happen. And if you happen to bet your everything there, you would bear witness to the end of the world. Avalon, for instance, is a good example of that. Marco stole a glance at Wallace, who was muttering before turning to me. Marco took his time before opening his mouth. That was his own way of showing courage. But then, you don't know what the problem is? Just a chance that there's a problem? That's about it. Forewarned is forearmed. Think twice before you act. There were tons of such proverbs in the world, but was it really rational to always be on the lookout for something unimaginable to happen? After all, the dangers that hid in this domain were far more unexpected than risks that were impossible. One could imagine, such as the sun blowing up or a meteorite hitting the lunar surface. Wasn't being that cautious. Wouldn't being that cautious be more like a mental defect? Marco looked like this was what he wanted to say, and it wasn't like I didn't understand what he was thinking. However, this holy grail of warranting profit was no risk was a logical inconsistency, and that was a fact. Because if they really could do no-risk investment, E.J. Rochberg would do everything on their own. Yet if the insurance and securities had a difference in their rates, and people still flocked to them, then that meant there was some sort of deception going on. There were three possibilities. E.J. Rochberg having some hidden profit or some risk embedded in the product in such a way that no one could find it, or both. When alchemists talk about turning lead to gold, simply put, it's a lie. The Philosopher's Stone? But according to legends, that's what it is. I guess Marco being an Earth fanboy made him knowledgeable about these things. Wallace opened one eye and glanced at Marco, then sneered. That is not what I meant. With current scientific technology, it is possible to change atoms of bismuth into atoms of gold. However, what alchemists are talking about is not that. In the real world, lead ore contains gold. This is just an exaggeration of that fact. After all, you can even extract gold from seawater. That's not the same as turning seawater into gold, though. E.J. Rochberg is playing all these people over there like fiddles, probably because they found a way to extract gold from lead, and they are making a show of it as alchemy, like in the legends. But Marco timidly tried to reply, but faced with my glare and Wallace's, he made himself even smaller. But if he didn't close his mouth, it was for the same reason as why Chris was being pampered by the crowd in the hall. Mathematics are a tool used worldwide for which proof can be established. If there is some deception, there should be a quant making use of the flaw in the mathematical model of the market and outwitting them, no? Wallace looked at Marco, and in return he looked back at him with stubbornness befitting a young boy. This silent standoff lasted for a long moment before Wallace averted his eyes, somehow enjoying this. Tell me, young man, what do they call me? It was surprising, but it looked like Wallace had taken a liking to Marco. It's the King of Pessimism. As I uttered this title, Wallace gave a devilish chuckle. Yes, I have no means of questioning the logical soundness of their math. However, I can question their major premise. One must look back on history. Mathematics are not almighty. God is not going to show us the perfect truth of this world. Wallace's words resounded with a heavy weight, especially for me who had experienced failure and exposed to a huge deception on the lunar surface. These things might happen. The world getting toppled over was something that might happen. Still, simply by calling it the Holy Grail and managing 1.7 billion moles in sales, the world sure is scary. As I groaned, Wallace slightly cleared his throat. But this is precisely why I see this as an opportunity. Wallace's green eyes were filled with a strong, brilliant light. I munched on one of the cold fries on the table. No matter how a first-rate chef cooked it, junk food was just junk food. Lead couldn't turn into gold. That was one of the few truths in this world. You are one of the few few people in this world who maintains the balance. I think in the near future there might be something I could help you with. Wallace planted his cane on the ground and stood up. Where are you going? I'm going home. How about staying just a little longer? Heh. Wallace shrugged, turned his eyes full of scorn towards me. I just came here to gather my thoughts. The best way to do so is to talk to people. Maria wouldn't be able to follow this kind of conversation. So that meant one of his reasons for coming here to see all this commotion here was to talk with me. His glare belied what he just said, like a shy, stubborn old man. Madness is something you are able to notice when it is far away. The madness here is too much for me to handle. Wallace pointed at the center of the hall with his nose in a gesture of disgust. Well then, let us talk later of how to make money. This commotion. Wallace held his breath an instant, and, with a glare so sharp it had me on edge, uttered the following words. This is just the beginning, mark my words. And with that, Wallace clacked his cane and walked away. Yeah, I definitely have to break this up into 2 parts. So who knows, this series may have 20 videos instead of 10 if these are going to be the regular length videos. The commotion in the hall was at its usual level, and you could see some people sitting in the corners with what were probably salespeople. If I didn't buy now, it was a loss. If I didn't buy more, it was a loss. That was the mood that was filling the whole place. This was because things must really be working like that. If it was selling that much, then it must mean that there were people who actually turned that much profit from the scheme. People like Wallace seemed to think there was a deception at work here. You could say this was a way of thinking befitting a tried-and-true short seller. However, even though I was so sure Wallace would produce a speech capable of putting out this commotion, he just hunched himself over and left the club unsteadily supporting himself on his cane. Was this the humility of the wise man, who, while everyone was in a festive mood and fussing around, discerned the truth and waited for the profit to come? Or was I seeing the lonely departing figure of an old man who couldn't handle the commotion? Even though I trusted myself to have impartial judgment, I could not feel any strength from seeing Wallace's back. After all, Wallace had only seen losses. The market was proving that his strategy was wrong. Even if he dismissed ABS's alchemy, he couldn't avoid being seen as a sore loser. The truth of the matter was, even if he had made a speech, people would not get angry before retorting. They would simply listen to what he said with lukewarm reception. Right. By the way, how was your performance this quarter, is what they would say. The times were changing. Sometimes what worked before ceased working and another method started working out of the blue. What was happening here might just be the investment befitting of a new era. However, if I didn't feel pity for Wallace, it was not because I was a level person. It was because my stance as an investor made me feel instinctively that there was a deception in the scheme. Thinking about it just made me feel the pang of unrest. Just like when you started catching a cold and felt something was off in your chest. Maybe I was, just like Wallace, starting to get behind the times. As I was standing to see Wallace off, I was looking vacantly at the whole floor, filled with the maelstrom of desire and money. The king of pessimism, right? Sitting back in my chair, I heaved a small sigh. I'm going outside for a minute. Saying that, I left Marco at his seat and went to the terrace. Parties like these were actually carefully planned advertising. By looking at the number of people invited from each fund, you could estimate what the promoters thought of their finances. They were indicators of what worked in the current market, who made money or who failed. So I brought opera glasses and sat where I could get a good look at their faces. But there was something that bothered me more than all of this. Suspicious alchemy. Wonderful alchemy. Since the beginning of the universe, return had been the reward you got for the risks you took. So when you try to get profits so massive that you could call them a holy grail, how much of a risk did you have to take? I didn't know. I couldn't even imagine. Of course, sometimes there were exceptions like this. For example, a lottery where you'd still make a profit even if you bought every ticket. But that actually happened on Earth once, and the lottery organizers realized their mistake, ending with the whole affair being taken to court. Even though the syndicate responsible for the cornering obtained a small profit with the refund, it was said they lost more over the personal expenditures. If that was the case, it was foolish to think a holy grail existed in the world of finance, which was far more complicated than the lottery. So to put it bluntly, I was in a bad mood. The more I thought about it, the more it felt like I was getting clear signals I was behind the times. I went to the terrace in order to drink. Even though I usually avoided alcohol, I sipped at my cold gin. Is it not to your taste? At first I thought that was meant for someone at another table, but I felt someone behind me. When I turned around, I saw a face I thought I was familiar with, but was somehow different from before. No, it's good. As I drank gin from its delicate glass, Chris chuckled gently and sat down across from me. Actually, this might become 3 parts at this rate. So there you go, you can see how much she's grown up. No, it's not like that. You mean the ABS. The asset-backed securities, the thing Wallace referred to as alchemy. Dr. Wallace was here, right? Chris was eating the nuts that came with the alcohol one by one, chewing them like a squirrel. My math is flawless. She still looked like a small animal, but there was something unshakable in her tone. People could change in 4 years. It was alternately a source of joy and sadness, but Chris had a very strong heart in her. I'm not doubting that. So what is it? Well, I'm a stock investment specialist. I'm not familiar with structured bonds. Purchasing claims such as government bonds can yield annual interest, and the whole amount will be repaid upon maturity. In contrast, structured bonds have fluctuating interest rates following certain conditions. The trade details can be revised many times as desired. Because of this, there are some structured bonds that keep generating losses due to their extremely complicated nature, which is structured to be disadvantageous to the other party. Quite a number of Japanese enterprises during the bubble economy generated losses with American deals. So the Americans fleeced the Japanese there, I guess. And what I do is an even more old-fashioned investment method. It's value stock, where you only buy cheap stock with future growth potential. And value stock is the conventional method of searching for and purchasing bargain stocks. I leaned back in my chair, clasping my hands over my stomach. I could see the lights of Newton City after dark in the distance. Are you not going to praise me? My only reply to Chris's words was to look at her. Chris stared at her hands as she snapped open the pistachio shells. This year, my bonuses will reach astronomical figures. I saw the sales numbers that were reported, and it seems they haven't reached the ceiling yet. It's because we use rating agencies and accounting regulations. It's selling really well, not only with the people of the lunar surface who like taking risks, but also with the somewhat more conservative people of Earth. It's selling so much that they can't process the paperwork fast enough, so the actual numbers are several times greater than those published. The pistachio broke open with a crack. Maybe it was a hint suggesting that she had solved the deep riddle of the investment world. Such profits are unprecedented. This year my branch will be the most profitable in the world for sure. Chris raised her eyes. They were full of innocence, showing not even a glimpse of greed. She probably didn't even have the slightest interest in money. But this was exactly why she averted her gaze and spoke as if she was looking from afar. I want to see how far I can go. You will go very far, that's for sure. I took some notes for myself. But before you get there, Risa says you should come to the church sometimes. That was what Chris used to say to me. For someone living in a world where people talked about figures up in the hundreds of millions or even billions of moles, those words must have felt awfully down to earth. Maybe Chris realized that too. She was ducking her head as if my words tickled. I'm busy. I understand. It's so fun you can't tear yourself away, right? Do you think I'm a bad girl? Chris had grown a little. She looked more mature, but had managed to retain her innocence. She must be quite popular. And she would go even higher now. I think you are, bad girl. The incarnation of greed. If that's the case, I really will have to visit Risa at some point, but for now, I'll pass. Chris threw a salted almond in her mouth and wiped her hands. I saw the news piece on your project, Hal. Thank you. If you ever need funds, please come to our bank. I'll introduce you to the investment division, alright? I wasn't sure whether to laugh or not. I didn't. I turned my gaze back to the scenery while looking at Chris from the corner of my eye. Giving the leverage easily will be to your downfall. You know what they say, know your place. Coming from Hal, the hero who defeated Avalon, it sounds pretty convincing, huh? That did make me laugh. I went back to my initial position and said, to be honest, when I heard that your monthly sales amounted to 1.7 billion moles, I was jealous. It was mortifying. Oh. I haven't changed much from the boy I was 8 years ago. Don't be too hard on me. Chris was only half listening to me, staring at me with wide eyes. Then her expression slowly changed to a smile. You're pretty sly after all, Hal. Many people have told me that. But thank you. I'll be able to work harder again. Yeah. I have to get back. Our goal for today's sales is set at 500 million moles. I couldn't tell if she was serious or not. Before I could reply, Chris stood up and started to walk off. Without thinking, I called out to her. Chris. Chris stopped, but did not look back. After a brief silence, I spoke. I would like to buy some ABS if that's alright. Then Chris, whose body had stiffened with tension, let her shoulders relax and turned back to me. You're mean, Hal. Perhaps I should have said I wanted us to get back together. Bleh. She laughed, sticking out her tongue and pulling down her lower eyelid mockingly. With my authority as a developer, I can get you as much as you want. Do you want a truck full of them? No, the smallest lot. At those words, Chris's expression locked itself into a forced, humorless smile. I was impressed to see that she could make such an expression. Major banks like E.J. Roachberg were like packs of wolves, and Chris was having considerable success there. Understood. I will tell the sales representative. Thank you. No problem. We look forward to doing business with you. She said this with a look of studied composure. Only at the end did she smile as usual, before she went back inside the club. Buying the smallest possible lot of a bond. Unless you were a stingy private investor, this was certain proof of doubt. When you bought bonds, you gained the right to see the written plans or to ask questions as a client. This is why he did it, in case you didn't understand, to give some right information. Now I will dissect your product and look for defects. I might as well have said that out loud. I just sipped my gin, breathing a sigh. When I called out to Chris from behind, it was absolutely not a manifestation of my resolution to fight her ABS from now on. My spiteful act was about 40% motivated by childish jealousy of her success. As for the remaining 60%, I suppose it was my anxiety of potentially being left behind.